It is my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to today's opening ceremony for Governance Week 2022, entitled Developing the Conscience of the Board. As Faye mentioned, I am Kamla Rampersad de Silva, and I am the CEO of the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute. In welcoming all of you, I want to share that the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute is a nonprofit membership organization, and we welcome everyone who wishes to join in our purpose of improving corporate governance practices in the region. Governance is an absolutely fascinating and vital subject, and many of its practices has changed significantly over the years. Today, we are seeing yet another perspective as the ESG conversation occupies front stage. The key focus today is to get directors to take responsibility for future generations and engage in sustainable practices that protects the future of the firm. This is pretty much what the Brundtland Commission had recommended in 1987, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own. Many are preoccupied today with the ESG elements and metrics, particularly relating to climate change and impact on the planet. But previous threats have not gone away. In 1776, Adam Smith wrote that managers would not watch over other people's money with the same vigilance as they watch over their own. The rise of the professional director has brought this centuries-old advice to even greater relevance. In 1932, Burl and Means warned about the continued separation of ownership from those in control, saying that the interest of the owners most emphatically will not be served by a profit-seeking controlling group. They went on to estimate that trillions of shareholders' dollars had been lost to self-serving directors. A few decades later, people like Edward Freeman and John Elkington again raised the urgency for boardrooms to focus away from pure profits and take into account people and planet. And now we have the more recent 37,000 ISO standard for good governance, the first of its kind, which is not strictly a standard, but guidelines for creating effective governance in the boardroom that focuses on value creation and purpose. So directors today are charged with a lot of responsibility to guard against self-interest and supervise the management team, to understand the needs of the company and the purpose for which it was created, to measure impact on the environment and develop metrics which will allow it to proactively protect people and planet, while also keeping the firm on an even keel in the midst of rising inflation, falling currencies, and an unpredictable supply chain distressed by both COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Clearly, it is not an easy task, and one for which a lot of directors are not properly equipped. Here at the Corporate Caribbean Governance Institute, we have taken our task very seriously to raise awareness and build competence by engaging in a wide range of workshops, sessions, and conferences, including the Great Wealth Transfer Conference and the meetings of the International Learning Network, both held recently. Governance Week, however, is our signature event. Here, we bring together over 50 professionals from the Caribbean region to share, grow, and learn from each other over a 5-day period. Our theme encapsulates many of the issues above in a very simple theme, developing the conscience of the board, which very directly addresses the need for directors to be deliberate in their intentions, to be stewards, looking after the interest of the organization, its people, and stakeholders inclusive of the planet. For our inaugural Governance Week in 2020, we were extremely fortunate to have Professor Bob Garrett delivering our opening keynote. As Faye said, Professor Garrett has since become a friend and advisor to the Institute, and he was instrumental in us being able to organize the very eminent Professor Mervyn King as our keynote speaker last year. I should add that Professor Garrett also introduced us to Charlotte Valet, who will be delivering our opening keynote this year. Thank you so much, Professor Garrett. We are very happy to welcome Charlotte, who has served as chair of the Institute of Directors in the UK, and who has founded and is the managing director of the Global Governance Group. Charlotte has a passion for assisting smaller governance institutes like ours, and we look forward not just to her address today, but to future collaborations with her. Now, some brief housekeeping announcements before we move on, especially for those of you who are joining us for the first time. We are in a Zoom meeting room and not a webinar. This means everyone is together in the same virtual space to be able to see and communicate with each other. It allows us to feel more connected. It's important, therefore, that we know who is in the room with us. And so we ask that persons identify themselves properly on their devices. To do this, you can rename yourself, or if you're unable to do so, please message us in the chat and we would assist in renaming you. If we cannot identify who you are, then you will be removed from the meeting room. Also, we would like everyone to keep their microphones on mute during the presentation and panel discussion. For those of you who are new to Zoom, there's an icon at the bottom of your screen to raise your hands when you want to get our attention for the Q&A segment afterwards. You will need to unmute yourself and press the mute icon again as soon as you are done to minimize any disruptive noises if you are invited to speak. During the entire session, however, you are welcome to make remarks or ask questions in the chat feature during the session. This session is being recorded, as all of our public are, and will be made available afterwards on our social media pages and will also be sent to you. Those of you who need to earn CPDs or PDUs as part of your ongoing certification, you may use our CCGI sessions to claim your points. In order to do so, however, you need to have been registered for the session and you need to send us an email requesting the same. We would verify your attendance at the session before issuing a certificate with or PDU hours. As I close, I would like to extend sincere appreciation to our sponsors. First Citizens Bank, our gold sponsor, Republic Bank Limited, our silver sponsor, and our 3 bronze sponsors, JMMB Group, PwC, and Angostura Limited. We thank them sincerely for their support, and we look forward to building a long-term relationship with them and other corporate bodies that are interested in helping us to engage the conversation and training to help build effectiveness in the boardroom. Over the next 5 days, over 50 professionals from around the region will be offering insights and advice on how we may improve our governance practices. I also want to extend sincere appreciation to all of them, our speakers, panelists, and moderators, who will be given of their time over the next 5 days. Thank you for believing in us at CCGI and for agreeing to contribute to our collective development. I look forward to all the many stimulating conversations which will follow. Thank you so much.